Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 188 of the Two-Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm your host here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Shawn.
How we doing?
Good. I hope I remember to put the intro music in this time.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, John. Don't. It's not a hint. I was just stupid. I'm sorry. But if this is the first time you're seeing or hearing us, this is the Two-Player Co-op Podcast, where just about every week, two brothers get together to tell you everything you need to know about in the world of video games. If you like that, make sure you like the video, subscribe. We are so close. Actually, look it up for me. We're so close to getting to 1,000 subs. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, it was 987 last time we checked. Hopefully it's not 986 or 5, but we'll see. But yeah, spread the word and do that. And yeah, we're so close to hitting 1,000. It would mean the world to us to get there sooner rather than later. Thank you guys so much for subbing and sharing. 987. So 13 more to go as the time we're recording this Sunday night. So thank you all so much for that. If you really like us, you can go to patreon.com/2playercoop, just like our producers Steve Appleton, Aunt Sue, and Vernon Slayton did, as well as our affiliate, James Solar. If you like merch, you can go to teespring.com/stores/2playercoop and get cool shirts.
And stickers and coffee mugs.
Like the one this guy's wearing right now. I haven't checked that in forever. People might have bought them, and I don't know. I need to check.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. But go over there if you want some cool shirts. And eventually we'll Twitch again at twitch.tv/2player_co-op. I just realized this is not updated. So, try that again. Let's close out of Coco Melon and AccuWeather. Where's my docks? I have no docks in my headphones.
Where my docks at?
Doc mix. Okay, there we go. Oh, this is one thing I wanted to bring up. I thought we could have saved this for a random bonus episode, but I just got to say it. I thought of this the other day. So the boys had some friends over to swim. You know how you can get like a big bag of chips, or you can get like the box that has 7 different kinds of little chips.
Bags. Yeah.
And I had this thought. Why hasn't Coke or Pepsi or anyone done like a 12-pack with 6 Cokes, 6 Diet Cokes, 6 Pepsis, 6 Diet Pepsis? Am I crazy for thinking this should be a thing? Jess said it's probably just because they wouldn't make as much money. But I'm like, well, but if you like, I guess I get that, but I don't know why multi-pack sodas aren't a thing. Thoughts? And had you ever thought of this before?
I have not thought of it. It does make sense. I don't know. I guess because it's so cheap that, like, if you need both, you could probably just buy one of each.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's a small market that's looking for being able to buy one thing that contains both, but it is kind of weird that that doesn't exist, and also weird that I've never thought about it. But
I mean, I don't know why I never thought of it. There you go, Mario. Don't. I don't know. It just popped in my head the other day, and I was like, yeah, that should be a thing. Or like 6 Sprite, 6 Coats, or like 6 Mountain Dew, 6 Pep, like some kind of like option. I almost feel like their sales would go up because it'd be like, wow, I've never seen that before. This is awesome. I would like 6 Cokes and 6 Diet. I don't know.
It's true. I mean, where I thought you were going to go with that is about how those the chips that you can buy and like the variety pack or whatever seem to be something that is like exclusively for like little league games. Like when you're bringing snacks for a team or something, like I feel like that's probably 95% of their sales.
Yeah. Or you've got 4 kids coming over to swim with your kids.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but that's basically a little league game, yeah. So, I don't know. I just want to bring that up. The other thing I want to bring up is Dodgson! Dodgson! We got Dodgson here!
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Did you see this?
No.
Dodson's in Jurassic World 3. Jurassic World Dominion. New actor, because apparently the original actor was like a sex predator or something, so obviously they didn't just bring him back, but they recast him. And in the lore of Jurassic Park world, Dodgson, however you say his name, it's Dodgson, but I feel like you just say Dodgson.
Yeah, I don't know how else you'd say it.
Dodgson. Or Dodgson. I don't know. But he worked for a rival company to InGen called Biosyn, and apparently he still does, and somehow that's going to feed into Jurassic World Dominion.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I care. Stop it. That's not nice. That's not nice. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. So Dodgson will be back in Jurassic World 3. I like Fallen Kingdom. I talked about that after I watched it on a plane for the second time.
That's one of those movies I've not seen since the theaters.
Yeah.
But I feel like, don't crucify me here, it kind of reminds me of The Last Jedi in that
It's better than The Last Jedi.
I saw, and I'm sure it is, but in that I saw it, and I feel like I was just like, that was pretty good. And then but I feel like I was just saying it because I wanted it.
It's dinosaurs, but it's still dinosaurs on screen,
Right. I mean, yeah. It just had a weird. It was very Lost World to me, and that is I won't say a terrible movie, but it's not a good movie, and that's all I could think of the whole time. I don't know.
I will.
It's not like I have high hopes for it, and I'm worried about. If I see it, I feel like it's going to ruin it. No, I don't think of it as being very good, and I feel like if I did see it again, I'd probably be like, yeah,
no,
that is correct.
I would say it's like a 7 out of 10.
I think it's like a 5.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's like.
I think it's better than. Well, I think we're probably in agreement. It's better than 2 and 3.
Jurassic Park is a 10.
There's like 3, 2, Fallen Kingdom, World 1.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park is a 10. World, I would say, is like a 9. I would call this a 7. Lost World is like a 5 or a 4. And Jurassic Park 3 is utter garbage. It's like a 1 out of 10. It's like the thing I always say about, and I was tweeting to Bart a lot about this the other day, like Justice League, wrong, Jay. And I said this when we talked about the Snyder Cut. It always looked like it didn't feel like a big budget. Like, it just looked weird. Like, It looked like a made-for-TV movie. And that's
Jurassic Park 3 looks like it was like a Sci-Fi Channel movie or something.
The animatronics on the Spinosaur, when you first see him, like, the CGI in it's fine, but it's the animatronics that drives me nuts. Like, when the plane crashes, spoiler alert for a 19-year-old movie, when the plane crashes, when they're trying to take off and they hit the tail and they go boom, 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 they end up in a tree. And then he's there, like, trying to eat, and he's going, like, the T-Rex in Jurassic Park and in The Lost World, even though that movie's not good, the animatronics were fantastic. You could tell 3 wasn't directed by Spielberg. He was just a producer on it, and Joe Johnston directed it, and he did a horrible job. But yeah. So
when is not Fallen Kingdom? What's it called?
As of now, it's June. Dominion. June and July is there's one I'm forgetting, but it's in some order. Spider-Man 3. Who knows if all this is going to stick? It probably won't.
Like next year?
Yeah.
There's no way we're getting Spider-Man 3 next year.
Yeah.
There's no way.
June or July 21. Yes. Well, before the world stopped.
I think it's at least a year.
No, they announced a date, but before the world stopped, it was Jurassic World 3, Spidey 3, and now I can't remember what it was. It was another nerdy movie.
It's almost like, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I don't care. That's fine. It's almost like they're like, Phase 4. Just keep shoving Spider-Man down their throat. Like, it doesn't seem like, I don't know.
Oh, the Batman, but now that's been pushed to October of 21. That's what it was. In a 6-week stretch, we got Jurassic World Dominion, Spidey 3, whatever they're going to call it, Homework, and then the Batman. But now the Batman's been pushed to October. I got to think those two are going to get pushed because of COVID. But
there's no way Spider-Man 3 comes out next year.
It was supposed to.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, do you have anything you want to talk about? And have you played anything else other than,
No to the latter.
Did your cat attack you? I gotta ask.
My dog.
That was Murph?
Yeah, he doesn't like, or he either doesn't like it or he likes it when I'm on the floor. But like I was just lying on the floor yesterday just because I was just tired and I was just like, ugh. And he just comes over and he starts like wanting to like wrestle and he like rolls over on me and he always wants to shake, but when he shakes, instead of doing this, he's like, he shakes hard and he's like clawing. He didn't mean it. It's
No,
not like he was
course,
like fighting,
yeah.
but like, and I didn't even know that he scratched me. And I was like, oh man, that hurts. Ow, geez, no wonder it hurts. But yeah, that was Murphy, not Abby.
I thought it was Abby.
No. Yeah.
So The Last of Us Part 2 has sold. It is the fastest selling PS4 exclusive in its history, not surprising. 4 million copies in 3 days.
I feel like we need a
new metric.
I've always had a problem with fastest selling.
There's
like it's not really how
25 million more consoles
it's how
than when
many
Spider-Man came
sells.
out and God of War.
Well, but I'm not even talking that. It's just it's not really how fast it sold. It's how many it sold quickly. Like
Right.
I don't know. It's if they sold a copy as soon as it launched, well, that was really fast. You can't be. It's not how fast it sold. I don't know. Every time I see that, I'm like, what do you mean fastest selling? Like, I mean, I guess
it's not
you could
even
say
fastest. It's most.
Yeah, it's most
Most sold in the first weekend.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, well, this is why they just say fastest because it's too hard to say it any other way. But
most is
wait. So what was the number?
4 million. So it'd be in one weekend, in the first weekend. So it'd be God of War, Spider-Man, Uncharted 4, Horizon, Ratchet.
Wow.
Good
for them. Even with all the idiots like.
Oh, like what I'm about to talk about, because around 15,000 people have signed a petition. Is this what you're going to talk about?
Not necessarily the petition, just people saying, I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it now. Like, whatever.
15,000 people, give or take, have signed an online petition at change.org to have Naughty Dog remake the game with a new story.
First of all, y'all are making a mockery out of change.org.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say it started with, but it brings me back to stupid Game of Thrones. Like, we've all...
And Last Jedi.
Like, got it in our minds
and
now
Skywalker,
that...
I'm sure.
Well, I don't like something... Now, obviously, there are certain things that, yeah, if you don't like them, you have a right to change them. This is not one of them. Like, just... Oh, God, it drives me nuts every single time.
Like, I tweeted it the other day, and I was like... I'm not a big fan of the story, to say the least, but I would never sign a petition to tell Naughty Dog, you need to fix this. And it's just ridiculous. There's so many much more important things going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
Separate from The Last of Us, that this is the petition you're going to sign? Like, what the hell are we talking about? But yeah, it's... Just check yourself or I'll wreck yourself. Let's see. Sean.
Yes.
So I'm about 18 hours in now, give or take. Neither of us have beaten it yet. We probably will by next week. I definitely will, because I just got to power through this the next couple days. I'm hoping. It seems like, because I read a comment somewhere. I was actually on Reddit. And somebody was just like, there was a thread on Kind of Funny, like, hey... where is it safe to talk about Last of Us spoilers? And I clicked on it. There was no spoilers, thankfully. But then somebody asked, like...
That was a bold move.
I know. Well, because I was like, they didn't... I knew that the mods are very active there. They're so active that they banned me from Twitch for mentioning Colin. Still banned for life, by the way. That I knew it would be safe to go in there. And somebody asked a question, hey, I just got to part where such and such character does such and such a thing. How much longer do I have? And they said about 5 hours. And I didn't know who the character was. You don't even know who the character is at this point. So that's good. But they said when you get to that point, when this character, I'll just say this because it's not a spoiler. It'll just let you know when you get to that point, how much longer you have. When a certain character that you meet in the second half of the game leaves, you've got supposedly around 5 hours left, which is where I'm at.
And how, but you're only at
18. So
I
don't.
It's supposed to be like 30 hours.
A lot of people said 25 to 30. Jason, our buddy, he's been on the podcast before. said he beat it in 32. I don't know if it's because I'm not playing on like a super hard difficulty or
Did you ever determine is the timer?
I don't know.
Does it like reset when you die or whatever?
I don't think I'll know until
I've
I get to the
definitely
end.
changed. Are we just going right into not spoilers?
No,
but
we're going into Last
This
of
is
Us.
our Last of Us discussion. I've definitely, when I started, I was going in every building and just looking for everything I could find. I'm definitely past that now, and I'm just like, if I don't feel like it's somewhere I have to go, I may go in and shine my flashlight around, see if there's like a safe or whatever, something that looks important.
Yeah.
But I'm not like,
have you noticed the
exploring
thing?
everything
Have you
anymore.
noticed the thing with the safes? If you don't see the combo, have you done this? You can click through every number and it'll go click, 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 click.
Really?
Yes. It's so cool.
Huh.
Because there was one safe that I opened pretty early in the game, and I was like, I haven't seen a code anywhere. I don't know. Click, click, click. And then I heard a noise, and I was like, wait, go back a couple, go back up. Oh, my God. So you can crack any safe if you want, if you're just going to go through all 99 numbers 3 times. I mean, you won't have to go through all the 99, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. That's a very cool gameplay element. I love the gameplay in this. I do. Like, what do you think now that you're 14, 15 hours in of the gameplay and everything? Again, we're not talking any spoilers. We'll do a spoiler cast when the time comes.
For the most part, I like it. I still have some big issues with the sense. I feel like it works as well as the game wants it to work at any particular point in time. Like, there are times where, like, I can see somebody walking, but as soon as I go to sense and it goes black and white, it's kind of hard to see them now. But I'm like, I know they're literally just walking there.
Yeah.
They may even be talking to somebody. Why aren't they glowing white on my screen? It just drives me nuts. And then there are times where I'm like, there's just so many times where I can physically see a person and they're walking and making noise, so they should show up on my sense, and they just don't. And I'm like, it drives me nuts. And it's like, I don't understand the point of it if it's just only seems to work when they want it to. Yeah.
I feel like it works better with the clickers and the other infected and stuff. For those, it seems like it normally works, but for people, it seems like it doesn't work. Yeah, it's
definitely
that well.
With the actual people that it doesn't seem to work very well for me. One other thing I've noticed, nothing that, well, yeah, I guess it's something that I noticed, but I'm not complaining because it's not important at all, but it makes me appreciate much more what Spider-Man did. When you are, if it's Dina or whoever, and you're like in game, like moving around and having a conversation, it's weird that I can just take off running and it's like, so how are you doing? What's going on today? Oh, so what happened with, and I can like jump and she's like, like mid conversation, and it's like her conversation. It's like just an audio track that's being played in the background.
Yeah, it's like a tape in Metal Gear Solid 5 or something, yeah.
Versus like Spider-Man and how cool it was, like that Yuri, whoever, I mean, I get typically Yuri, like changes his, like when he starts like swinging, all of a sudden he's like, MJ, what's going on? As opposed to just like, hey MJ, what's going on?
As he's swinging across Manhattan.
Hey MJ, and it's just like, just little things like that, I don't know, it was, when I was with somebody else at this one part of the game, and I know I was like climbing on vehicles or something, and I jumped off and I just hear her grunt mid-sentence while she's already having this other conversation. I'm like, this seems weird, but yeah.
But it's also how, like in God of War, one of the little things I loved is Kratos, when you would sprint, like he would start off running really fast, and then he would, like if we started running, if we're going to sprint from here to there, we would start off really fast and then we would slow down, and then your run would kind of become a jog. Yeah. It was like one of those little things that I really loved. Like that doesn't happen to Ellie in this. If Ellie's running, she's running, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Now, I do think kind of off of that, and I think I touched on this last week, I just don't think this game is, while it's a technical marvel, prettiest game I've ever seen, we're both playing it on base PS4s. It just doesn't feel like it has the same polish or something as the first one did, and that was a 7-year-old game. Like,
well, that game, granted, I never played it on PS3, so
right.
I played the remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. But I know those are typically just, you just up-res it a little bit and whatever. This game, while, like I said, it is beautiful, it doesn't look like a, 5-year difference since the remaster came out? 6 years?
That was 2014. Yeah.
It doesn't look 6 years more advanced. And that's more about how good the original looked, I guess, more than it's certainly nothing I can take away from this.
Well,
but.
and so there are scenes in this. This is not a spoiler, but there's scenes from The Last of Us that are in this game, and they are remade for this game because I've seen comparison videos of PS3 versus Last of Us Part 2, and they don't look that much better. I guess they really couldn't, I guess, because Ellie was who she was and Joel was who he was then, whatever. But you feel like you would have touched. I don't know. It's weird that they included like actual scenes from the first game in this, and then they didn't make them look like Ellie and Joel do in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But what do you think? So something happens about halfway, what I assume is about halfway through this game. You got to it last night.
Yep.
Spoiler free, what'd you think? Because I said you've got to be kidding me.
I certainly wouldn't say that I saw it coming. From a bigger picture, what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
I saw it coming.
I
certainly didn't see this specific thing coming, but I feel like the game is playing out and the narrative is going to become exactly what I thought it was going to be, if that makes sense. I'm treading lightly to avoid spoilers.
Yep.
I don't hate it. I like what it's doing from a narrative standpoint. I think it's going to be cool. I know a lot of people are going to hate it. I can appreciate it. I think it's cool. But it also makes me less interested. I don't have the same zest. It's going to be more of a drag, not Death Stranding level.
No, I know.
But
Whatever.
it's going to be more of a drag to get myself to go back and play it now. And it's not like I'm not going to. I'm obviously going to finish it, but like there were times I just don't have much time on the weekdays as it is, and now I really don't see myself making time for it during the week. I think it's a weekend thing from here on out, more than likely. So I don't know. I still don't really know how everything is going to play out, but I see what they're doing.
Yeah. It's the funny thing, and whenever we do our spoiler cast here in a couple weeks, it'll probably be. So I was texting Jason this separate from you because you hadn't got to that point yet. And I just said, like a lot of people thought this game didn't need a sequel. And the only reason they did a sequel because Neil Druckmann said that they thought they had a story that needed to be told. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but it was something to that effect, that he felt like this was a story that needed to be told. And I'm like, I get it from one point, from one side, based on what happens early in the game. But everything that we're now playing through, I'm like, it's not changing at all how I feel, and I'm almost through that.
Right. I feel like they're trying to make you feel a certain way, and I'm like, no. I already know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And
they're
I
gonna keep
also
trying it.
already know that it's not going to make me feel a certain way about anything. I mean, it's a cool technique, I guess I'll say. But it's almost like I don't appreciate what you're trying to make me feel. That's the part of it that's just kind of like, come on.
Yeah, I feel like what I wrote down, and I'll say this here because I've got this many notes on this game.
Oh, jeez.
These are my spoilers down here. I get what they're going for. I think how they could have done it in a different way. Oh, how do I say this? I think if we had a different perspective other than that perspective, I think that would have lent a lot of weight to what they're trying to pull off, and I don't think they're pulling it off. I think if you had a separate party's viewpoint on everything, and hopefully you can kind of get what I'm saying, I feel like that would have been more impactful, and that would have actually shown what some of the people in this world think about certain things. Because what they're showing us is just too obvious and personal for me to really get invested in it, because obviously what happened is going to affect this person in this way. That's obvious. But what do other people think?
Yeah.
If you haven't played the game, you're like, what the hell are these idiots talking about? But I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope that like
it's tough to talk about spoiler free, but my issue, I'm just kind of, maybe we should just talk off air about this, but not because of specifically what has happened and who things have happened to, whatever. Aside from all that, I find myself, what do I care about what happens from this point in the game to the end?
Right.
Why do I care? I feel like I already know, like literally, not just I know what's going to, I literally know because they showed me.
Exactly.
I know the part that I'm supposed to care about. I already know that part.
Yep.
So why do I care about anything else at this point? So I don't know. That's what I'm, and maybe as I get back into it, maybe it'll kind of pull me back in. But it's
the only thing that's pulled me in is the gameplay is still fun. I love the stealth in this more than anything. I love that Ellie can go prone. That's a big addition. She couldn't go prone in the first game, so you can like, and we saw it in gameplay, demos and stuff. You can go under cars. You can do whatever. You can arrow people in the knee, whatever. I like that. Also, it seems like it does a good job because there's like the high grass that you can just crouch down and walk through like your snake. And then there's the grass that's not as high, but it's still grass. So you can prone through that. And you can still, if you come up and if you get too close to somebody, they're going to see you if you're in that short grass. But it at least helps you kind of navigate the world a little bit better. I really do. I'm way higher on the gameplay than I was last week. I will say that. But the story is just nowhere near as good as it was in part one, if you want to call it that. Like, I just feel like this wasn't a story that needed to be told, and I feel like when I get to the end of this game, I'm just going to be like, I would have rather they not made this.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I wrote down here, I think, again, we did on a podcast forever ago, I don't remember what we were talking about. I think it was Uncharted 4, so it was like 4 years ago at this point. They're like, IGN gave it an 8.8, and everybody was like spamming Lucy O'Brien, you're a feminist, you suck, you shouldn't be able to review games, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why do you care what they gave a game? And I thought of that because before the game came out, 95, 96 on Metacritic, all these 10s, 9.5s, all this. And then my favorite Twitter follow, Callie Plaggy's review went up, and it was an 8. And I was like, oh, of course it's an 8 because it's Callie and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And I still haven't read her review, and then she posted a review with some spoiler thoughts on the day it came out. But now I'm like, ooh, I feel like it's an 8. Like, it's, and I don't see how, I'm going to see how the story plays out, and maybe I'll change my mind. But again, if I've only got 4, 5, 6 hours left, I really don't think they're going to change my mind because, like you said, I know what they're doing. It's obvious. Like, this is, and my point is, shout out to you, Callie. I feel like it is an 8. It's not a 10 out of 10. I definitely don't think it's a 10 out of 10. If you just go like on technical merits and stuff like that, yeah, it's a technical masterpiece, but so was the Order 1886. And I feel like I said this last week too. Like, I'm not, this is better than the Order 1886. Don't get me wrong. But that was a technical marvel. This is a technical marvel, but it's a technical marvel that I cared way more about than I did the Order 1886. And it's not living up to what I wanted to. I do feel like the other thing I noticed, I forgot that this was not just written by Neil Druckmann. Druckmann's only a co-writer on this. And I know we had a comment on our spoiler video that we did last week. Druckmann is a smart guy, and he knows how to tell stories, and he did a great job with Uncharted 4. So now that I know that he's only a co-writer on this, I'm like, oh, crap. Like, I just wish somebody else would have directed it or something. Like, I don't feel like, I don't know. There's so many. I've been like saving videos on my YouTube to watch after I beat it with like spoiler talks and stuff. Kind of Funny did their own spoiler cast, and then they did a spoiler cast with Neil, Ashley, and Troy. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot. And I'm going to listen to that. But I just don't feel like, I don't feel like this is up to Naughty Dog's standards. And I don't think that, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'll get to the end of the game and I'll be like, man, I was wrong and they friggin' nailed it. But right now I'm like, I don't think this, I still think they're not smelling their own farts with this game. I really do. Yeah. And this game's way too long. I was ready for it to end when you got to that point.
Well, that's part of my problem is I'm there and I'm like, so what? I'm halfway through this right now, and I'm just like, and I don't hate it. I don't come anywhere near it.
Yeah, I don't hate the game. I'm just not.
It just doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be twice as long as it's already been.
Right.
I'm not saying it should be over right now, but I feel like right now I should have about 5 hours left, not
15.
12 to 15. Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, this was a thought I had. Completely nitpicking, and I think it was like this in the first game too. Obviously it was. Why? So this is 20 or so years after Outbreak Day. Why are all these buildings collapsed? Why is there water everywhere?
Brittany asked about that. She's like, so why is like just the ocean just here
and
now?
Like parking garages have collapsed and
I
stuff?
just told her, I guess it's just after 20 years of no just infrastructure literally and figuratively crumbling away and nobody's doing any kind of repair. I mean, think if 20 years passed and just nobody did anything. Well, it's more like, 25 years now, right? So, I mean, a lot can happen in 25 years if nobody is just like, dams can burst and look, now everything's flooded. Like, a lot can happen. And, I mean, I didn't really have a better answer than that, but, yeah, I don't know. It does seem a bit extreme. Like, it's not like... And, I mean, some of the, like, Seattle, we're meant to believe it's more or less like a war zone. Like, I don't think it's literally just crumbling infrastructure.
They could have been
There's probably
like
bombs and crap going
on.
True. Yeah, so I think that plays into it, too.
Yeah,
but
that's very true. Good point.
One thing that I thought was cool, I was... Like, as it played out, I'm like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh my God. There's this part, I think, in day 3 where I don't really want to... I don't think it's a spoiler. The person that you're with at that time, basically you go by a convention center.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's up with all these posters? And
it's like
set up for like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then Ellie says, like, man, we were just born too late or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, wait, yeah, like she was born into this world. Like, this has been set up for Comic-Con. I couldn't see the year on the banner, but
for
like
24 years, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, from like before she was even born, years before she was born. And it is just weird to think like, oh yeah, she has no idea what like Comic-Con or anything like that is. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a cool moment, and it was just kind of a mind F that all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's weird to think about. But
well, and at one point, like, she's asking Joel, like, did you get me a DVD? What about Laserdisc? I heard they're a thing. And it's like, oh, Ellie, you're so... You have no idea. You just have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been so torn on a game. I really haven't. I don't know. We'll definitely have a lot... All this vagueness we've been talking about, it'll make sense when the spoiler cast comes. Because I told Shawn, I was like, I don't even care if it takes you 2 more months to beat this. We're going to do it whenever you beat it. I'm at this point, like, I got people coming into town, so the next 2 nights, I'm going to beat it no matter how long it takes. I'm going to beat it. And then after that, I'm going to take a break from video games because this is just going to wreck me. But
One thing I've been wondering about, and based on where I'm at now, I think I'm already to the point where I'm like, ugh, it's not going to happen. Unless maybe there's some kind of flashback thing. I was really hoping for another giraffe moment. And I don't think it's going to happen. Not literally that, but like...
You didn't think you got it?
Well...
I mean, that was close, but it was also sad. But then it was happy.
Oh.
That was what I thought it was. But I saw other people saying that it was the museum.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably... I mean, that's probably the closest thing to it. It's not as good, because that was just so, like, oh... As opposed to the giraffe, where it's just like, oh my god, this is just like one beautiful thing in the middle. Yeah,
and it's like, but do you remember when the giraffe moment happens?
It's very near the end.
It's right before
the hospital.
Ellie like drowns and gets knocked out, and then they take her for surgery.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, so it is really.
It is right. It's the last good thing in that game. Yeah, wow. And I think that's looking back, that's what made it so powerful too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for I mean, you obviously can't just recreate that. That, what you just said, is probably the closest thing to it and probably what they were going for, which I guess, I mean, the zebra, the giraffe thing was just like, I mean, okay, you know, the animal, but like that, yeah, I guess that's probably the closest thing to it.
By the way, that actor who plays you-know-who's you-know-what, I know that guy. Like he didn't just do voice acting. That's an actual actor. I've seen him in things, and I need to go to IMDb and look up who he is because he looks just like him in the game.
The guy who I thought of, and I haven't bothered to look it up yet. I don't think it's him because the voice doesn't sound right, but he looks like, to me, the in-game character looks like the guy that does Hank in Firewatch. That's who he kind of reminded me of. He was the guy in The Office when Pam goes to New York. The guy who's like Pam's friend in like art design school. That guy. That's who he reminded me of.
That's Hank?
Yeah. Yes. And when I saw him, I'm like, wait, is that going to be him? And then I'm like, wait, the voice doesn't... I never looked it up, but I'm like, the voice doesn't sound like him. I don't think that's him, but...
Hold on. Now I got to look up who he is.
This is exciting content right here.
Yeah, it's this guy.
Rich Sommer.
Rich Sommer, I remember that name.
That guy. Pam's friend.
I never knew that was Hank.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's him. Fully mocapped and everything. Like he's actually in the game.
But am I supposed to know him from somewhere?
I know him from something. Let me
Okay.
look up his IMDb. I mean, it's on IMDb. Filmography.
Peek behind the sausage.
Oh, he was in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. The show?
The TV show,
Yeah.
yeah. He was in Shooter. There's something else I'm thinking from him in. I think it's probably more from like commercials or like TV shows or something. He was in Doc McStuffins. Okay. Maybe I know his voice from there. Freaking kids. I don't know. Hold on, let me make sure that's the right guy. This is riveting radio for you guys, I know.
Maybe just cut some of this out.
No, I'm not cutting anything out. This is how the sausage is behind, whatever we said.
This is what's behind the sausage.
Yeah, it's him. Okay, that's what I thought. So I don't know. It's definitely him and whatever. I'm sorry. But this is a game I don't even want to tread on spoilers unless you want to hear them. But there will be a time and a place for that. I'm excited for what's coming out on July 10th. Don't say what it is. But that's the palate cleanser that I need, not Ghost of Tsushima. If we get review codes, cool. But now I'm like...
I've just got so much... Like... I'm already kind of, just because of other stuff coming up, I feel like I've already fallen away from Resident Evil VR. I do still kind of want to finish that, at least the really good part of the game.
Yeah.
I've got Ring Fit that I still play every few days. I have to finish this. I've got Donkey Kong. I've got that. I've got Paper Mario later in the month.
Yep.
I've just got
but that is
so
going to
much
take
crap.
2 or 3
a couple
nights.
nights. Yeah, I mean it'll be quick, but
But-
still, yeah.
All right.
I'm really looking forward to Paper Mario.
Me too.
I was not totally sold on it, but I'm like, no, I'm in. It's
I
not going to
can't
be Thousand Year Door good, but it's going to be.
I just can't wait
Awesome.
for your thoughts and to just see if it's anything I should even try. Because I was in until I saw that battle system. Then I'm like,
Do you
gonna
not
go
like it
cross-eyed.
because you don't understand what's going on, or you
I
just
get-
don't like it because it's turn-based?
A little bit of both. I mean, I know what's
Yeah.
going on. You have to turn the rings to line them up so you can do the most damage. But it's almost like tactics kind of game.
It is,
crossed
and I don't really
with
like tactics,
turn-based.
but I don't
Yeah.
think it's tactics enough for me to just not like it.
Right.
I think I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I miss just standard turn-based gameplay.
That's what I was hoping it was going to be.
But I like this better than the weird card-based stuff from the 3DS one. I like it better than the just Mario platforming, just jump on enemies from the Wii Paper Mario game. I don't know. I'm in. I'm excited. I'm way more excited than I probably should be. But
Well, good. I'm happy for you. Shawn,
yes,
you want to get the news of the week?
sure.
Shawn Layden thinks that the AAA games market has become unsustainable. This comes from Push Square. Games have been getting longer, as we just talked about. That's me editorializing. The Last of Us Part 2, which launched last week, is a great example of this. While its predecessor could be completed in around 15 hours, its successor can take upwards of 30 hours depending on how you play. God of War followed a similar trajectory, moving from tight 10-hour campaigns to a gigantic 30-hour epic. I will say, this feels way longer than God of War did, and way longer than Horizon. And I think
How long were they? About?
both around 25 to 30 hours, around the same amount
Really?
of time. Unless you platinum it like I did. I spent 50 hours in both, 45 to 50 in both getting the platinum. But there's no doubt that the demands of the wider gaming public have led to this change. But former PlayStation executive Shawn Layden, who departed the company last year, believes that the model is simply not sustainable, particularly as production costs continue to snowball. Speaking as part of Game Lab Live, the likable lead pointed to the fact costs. You're missing a word there. I'm going to fix it. The likable lead pointed to the fact that costs have generally doubled each generation. Quote, "It's hard for every adventure game to shoot for the 50 to 60 hour gameplay milestone because that's going to be so much more expensive to achieve. And in the end, you may close some interesting creators and their stories out of the market if that's the kind of threshold they have to meet. We have to reevaluate that." End quote. Layden continued that despite ballooning budgets, the cost of buying games has not increased. Quote, "It's been $59.99 since I started in this business, but the cost of games have gone up 10 times. If you don't have elasticity on the price point, but you have huge volatility on the cost line, the model becomes more difficult. I think this generation is going to see those two imperatives collide." End quote. According to the executive, one solution may be to simply make smaller titles. Quote, "Instead of spending 5 years making an 80-hour game, what does 3 years in a 15-hour game look like? What would be the cost around that? Is that a full-throated experience? Personally, as an older gamer," you're speaking to my heart, Shawn Layden, "I would welcome a return to the 12 to 15-hour AAA game." End quote. He continues, "I would finish more games first of all, and just like a well-edited piece of literature or movie, looking at the discipline around that could give us tighter, more compelling content. It's something I'd like to see a return to in this business." End quote. But would you be willing to fork out $59.99 for a dozen or so hours of top-notch entertainment, or would you be waiting for a price drop? This spoke to me, and this is funny because today it blew up. Did you see Jason Schreier's tweet?
Yeah.
Which I agreed with. He tweeted out, "Video games are too long," and I liked it. And I was like, not all games, but some games are too long. Like The Last of Us Part 2 is too long. I don't have a problem with this, and he's getting a whole bunch of backlash. I'm like, I didn't expect this because usually everybody just kisses his tuchus. But yeah, I don't need. I think I tweeted this article out and I said, not every game has to be 50 or 60 hours for you to justify $60. It's not like $1 equals an hour when it comes to gameplay. Resident Evil 2 last year was a $60 game. Could beat both campaigns in 15 hours. And it probably should have been my game of the year. But like,
well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because as you're talking about this, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Resident Evil 2 kind of set the bar, at least for me, like that's about what a game should be. It's long enough that I enjoyed it, but not so long that I've already gone back and played through it.
Yeah.
At least once, if
it
not
doesn't overstay
twice.
its welcome. Yeah.
And it's the same thing I say about almost every single game now. It's why I never went back and played through Last of Us isn't even that long, but like
God of War, Horizon.
I never played God of War again. I never played
Breath
Horizon
of the Wild.
again. Breath of the Wild, Metal Gear Solid 5.
You
Like,
never
I could
finished
go
a GTA
on and on
game.
and on.
Yeah.
I feel like games, without trying to speed run them, just playing at a normal pace, I think 20 hours is an absolute max. I think it should be beatable in that 15 to 20 hour range without like forcing yourself to beat it as quickly as possible. And if you want to put a bunch of extra stuff in there to let the player explore and whatever, so that the people who want to spend 30, 40, 50 hours in it can, by all means. But that kind of goes against what he's saying. Like, just throwing that much content into a game is not sustainable. And I agree. Like, I'm hoping that Paper Mario is something. Mario Odyssey, that's another one that I never went back and played again. I'm hoping Paper Mario is something that I can play and beat, and maybe later that same year jump back into it and play through it again. Like, I miss those days of just games that I could just play through multiple times and not get sick of it. I'll never play through Last of Us 2 again.
No.
There's no way.
Well, for multiple reasons.
Well,
But
yeah.
I'm never going to experience this again.
Yeah.
There's certain games that I guess it comes down to the game. Like, if they do enough to demand your attention for 50 hours or whatever, cool. Like,
And the other thing, I also have zero problem paying $60 for a 15-hour game.
Or even a 10-hour
I'm totally
game.
fine
Yeah.
with it. Like
because
if it's 10 or 15 hours, I'm likely to play through it 2, maybe 3 times, versus a 20 or 25-hour game that I might play through once and never touch it again. So in the end, I'm probably going to get more playtime out of a shorter game than I will a longer game. $60 is fine with me.
Yeah, and I know there's some games that demand your time if it's a big RPG, whatever. But like, even Final Fantasy VII is my game of the year right now. It still is. I thought there were parts in that dragged, but it was still only, I beat it in 29, 30 hours or something.
But
like
that's
that.
a good example, because you can spend a lot of time doing all those side quests.
And I just said, nope.
They definitely drag.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing all of them back when I thought maybe I'll actually platinum the game. I won't. But
No,
like,
you're never beating that on hard. There's no
and it
way.
wasn't terrible, but the last set of side quests was just like, oh my god, it dragged. The 2 or 3 like sets of side quests before that last one, they weren't that bad. I enjoyed doing them, but the last one I was just like, and I think by that point I was ready to just like, all right, let's go ahead and get to the end.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good example of, if you don't want to do the side quests, they don't really add a whole lot. You don't get too much benefit from them, other than just experience, like leveling up. But you don't get any like crazy items or anything that you wouldn't be able to beat the game without. It's just, if you really want to do it, yeah, here's some stuff you can go do. But if you don't, it probably cuts 10 hours off that game. Like, to me, that's totally fine.
Yeah, if a game can demand your attention for the amount of time that they think it can, then you've made a good game. I think it's just the reason this spoke to me so much was my feelings on The Last of Us. Like, I feel like this should have been just like the first one, 12 to 15 hours, and then that's it. It does not need to be as bloated as it is. But then again, like God of War, I beat it around 30 hours, and I felt like that flew by. And then I wanted to spend another 20 getting the platinum because I love that game so much. Same with Horizon. Spider-Man was probably, I don't even know what. Do you remember about what it took to beat that? I feel like that was around 20 hours. And then I would
guess
it in
20 to
30 or
25. Oh, yeah, just to beat it.
Yeah.
Probably around 20, yeah.
And it felt perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
that's honestly the one exception that I went back and played through again. And consequently, it was my game of the year. And and I got the platinum. Like, I enjoyed the game enough to like play through multiple times. To me, Ratchet and Clank, going back to that, perfect. I played through it 3 times over the matter of like 2 weeks to get the platinum. To me, that was the perfect length of the game. And every subsequent time I beat it, I probably cut 3 hours off of it. Like, I probably beat it in like, I don't remember how long it took me the first time. Maybe 10 hours or something. The second time, I probably beat it in like 7 or 8. And the third time, I probably beat it in like 5 or 6. Like, I just plowed my way through it. Granted, it was a free game. I would gladly have paid $60 for that game, for like a 10-hour game or so, whatever it takes to beat it. And there's plenty of bonus stuff you can do in that too. And it's fairly open world. You can just go and explore whatever you want. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. Games just don't all have to be 30 plus hours. There's no need for it.
My favorite game of all time, Metal Gear Solid 3, you can probably beat that in like 12 hours. Maybe 15 if you watch all the cutscenes. You know, or you try to get all the frogs, whatever. Like, that's not a very long game. Link to the Past, my second favorite game of all time.
You'd beat in like 8. A day.
Yeah, like it's not... It doesn't... Time does not equal value. And so it was good to see Shawn Layden talk about this, but also the other side of this is like... I mean, there are some games that probably could justify, like I was tweeting back and forth with Adam the other day. Witcher 3 probably could have been an $80 or $100 game for everything it has. It's not my kind of game. Cyberpunk could probably do the same. GTA 5, for crying out loud, I've put 400-something hours into that game across 2 consoles. That probably could have been a $100 game. Like, I don't know why we're... And this is what... I guess this is all... wrapped into what I was saying last week about Crash 4 being $60, although now reports are coming out that it's longer than the Insane trilogy, so it's longer than those 3 games put together. I'm like, okay, again, length,
but
value,
it also
whatever.
doesn't seem to be a game that should be that long.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I hate that we're stuck in this $60 mindset, which Colin's been saying forever, that next gen's going to be 70 or 80. I don't think it is, because pre-orders have gone live on Amazon for Series X games that are $60. I'm like, well, I guess we're just sticking to it. So if that's the case, but like, then we're just going to have more DLC and like cosmetic add-ons and season passes and all this stuff so people can make their money back. But time does not equal value, period, in anything in life.
Yep. Agreed.
Next up, Shawn. This past week, we got the Avengers War Table event. We found out that MODOK is the main villain. Do you know what that stands for? But you can't remember.
Yeah.
Do you want the first word?
Yeah.
Mental.
Second one.
Organism. Designed. Designed only for killing.
Okay.
I've never heard of MODOK. Again, I'm not the biggest comic book guy. I'm not. But apparently, yeah, so he's the main villain, which I don't believe, because he's trying to fix the damage that the Avengers caused at A-Day. I feel like there's still somebody pulling the strings. I don't think he's really the big bad. I don't know that it's going to be Thanos or anything like that, but I don't think he's really the big bad. It's kind of like how they're like Spider-Man, Mr. Negative's the big bad. No, he's not.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. There are hero-specific missions that you will play as Ms. Marvel attempts to reunite all the Avengers. We got gameplay of Thor that was shown. He can wear a T-shirt, and his name is Don Smidall, or what was his name? It said like my name is some. It was some like generic. He was trying to like not be Thor, but obviously like you're a freaking God of Thunder. You're Thor. There are upgrade trees and different cosmetic edits and suits and everything you can get. The game will be coming to PS5 and Series X at their launches. They'll run at 4K, 60 frames per second, and on the PS5 there will be 3D audio and DualSense additions to the game, and it will be a free upgrade to next gen on both if you buy the PS4 or Xbone versions of the game. I'm still not sold on this, but you said you were actually had your interest piqued by this. What do you think about the Avengers? Marvel's The Avengers, excuse me.
I'm quite a bit more into it now than I used to be. I think just seeing what kind of game it is helps. I still... Some of the character... To me, Thor is almost Hemsworth. Like he looks like Thor should and does. Black Widow, I'm okay with. My biggest problem was with Captain America, but that's fine.
Apparently he dies, which I
Yeah.
don't believe for a second. But whatever.
Hulk looks good. It's hard to screw that. I think my biggest problem is with not even Iron Man, but just Tony Stark. He does not look like any Tony Stark I've seen.
But I mean, when you've been with these characters, I know they're not the. We've been with them for 12 years, some of them in the MCU. Like, we're going to picture Robert Downey Jr.
Right. I'm sure more actual like comic book nerds are probably like, what are you talking about? This is exactly how they should be, and whatever, fine. But I'm growing to accept them. I don't know. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but I'm at least intrigued now.
Okay.
And before I was just like, nah, I'm good. So I don't know. I'll stay tuned and see, what other kind of information comes out about it. But
if this is like a 93 on Metacritic, I'm going to say, okay, I need to play this. But like
this may be the kind of thing that I'm just going to wait and read reviews and see what people have to say before just diving in blindly. But I'm hopeful now that it's going to be a good game.
I still just don't know why this is a live service game. And all the menus still look exactly like Destiny 2, which is so weird to me. Like, I don't know why they're making this the way that they... I mean, I know why they are. That's everybody wants a game as a service. You get it and you play it and whatever. But I would much rather have this just be like an Arkham-style game.
Yeah.
But that made me think... That was one thing I wanted to say. With the character models and stuff, I wonder if that's one of the reasons, like... I don't remember if in Arkham Asylum you saw Bruce Wayne, or did you only see Batman? I don't know, but I know in Arkham City you start off as Bruce Wayne.
I don't think you see Bruce.
I don't think you do.
Asylum.
But City, you start off as him in the jail and whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's Bruce Wayne. But I've also, at this point in my life, seen like 4, 5, 6, 7 different takes on Batman.
No version of Bruce
Exactly.
Wayne that I could see at this point would be like, what?
There's one Iron Man. There's one Captain America. There's one Thor. There's one Black Widow.
Yeah.
Hulk is just CGI, so who cares? But like... I wonder if that feeds into it. I really want this game to be good. I do. It's just it seems like it's had a weird, crazy development cycle. I feel like they wanted this to come out a year ago after Endgame, even though it has nothing to do with Endgame, but just to like
just capitalize on
exactly. And now, like I was trying to think the other day, I was like, what the hell is even going on in the MCU? It's like, oh yeah, Black Widow got delayed. That's coming, and then.
It's like
there's like the TV shows and
Shang-Chi and I'm trying to think of what the next movies are.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Doom. Yeah, Madness.
Just give me Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's at this point, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
And Black Widow. Black Widow
looks good.
But
Even
again,
though,
she's...
it means nothing.
Right.
Like,
you should have given us that movie 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that you feel more...
Yeah.
I mean, it's been out for a year. Has it only been a year since Endgame came out? It was April last year. Because Infinity War... Oh, did you get my text?
Yeah.
I was watching... I was like...
That was one thing we could have talked about. I finally last night saw Sonic.
Oh!
It was good. It was more or less what I thought it would be. I laughed more than I thought I would.
What'd you think of Carrie? Jim.
I was
like not like Kerry Washington.
He's basically just...
He's 90s Jim Carrey.
It's just Jim... No matter what role you cast him in, it's Jim Carrey. That could have been Jim Carrey in Liar Liar or Dumb and Dumber or like any of those movies.
GD pen is blue.
He's the same
The
character.
GD alien is blue.
I don't know. He's Jim Carrey. If you like Jim Carrey, you probably liked it. If you don't, you probably didn't.
He was way better than I thought he was going to be.
I thought he was fine. It's weird to just put a character like we've seen Dr. Robotnik so many times, but like we've never seen him. We never really heard him speak. We never seen him like interact with people. Like he's just there,
he's just flying around in a spaceship.
So I guess in a way it's kind of tough to screw it up. But
did you notice who the bad guys were at the beginning when he's Baby Sonic? When they're shooting the arrows and everything.
I mean, they looked familiar. Are they supposed to be?
They're echidnas. Yeah. There are echidnas in armor. Yup.
Really?
Yup.
I don't think I know what an echidna looks like.
He looks like Knuckles.
That's like saying
but it was
Sonic
like,
looks like a hedgehog.
No, but what I'm saying is like it was clearly a bunch of Knuckleses, but
really
they didn't show like bright red. Like it was all dark and they had armor. It was like they were trying to hide it, but you could see like the dreadlocks or whatever you would call them coming out, and like that's Knuckles. That's his peoples.
The whole thing about the mushroom thing was weird because like, oh, haha, that's
Mushroom
a dig at
Kingdom.
Mario.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no,
but
I'm
there's
going to
also-
go to the mushroom place, and then like the mushroom place, and then spoiler alert, Robotnik ends up in the mushroom place. I'm like,
But there
wait,
was
is this
a
supposed
mushroom-
to be a dig at Mario, or is it literally it's just like a mushroom?
But
I'm like,
remember, Sonic 3 started out in the Mushroom Hill Zone. That first level of Sonic 3 was the Mushroom Hill Zone because you bounce on them and stuff, and you do the pull things whenever. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just went from thinking it was just a dig at Mario to like, oh no, it's really
It's
place,
a real place,
and they just kept talking about it.
Going
I'm
to
like,
get banished.
well,
there.
that's weird.
Now that you've seen it, you should go watch the Everything Wrong With. It was like 20 minutes. I'm like, I don't even care. I love it.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's not as good as Mortal Kombat.
It's not the best video game movie.
It's definitely not the
but
worst.
it's way closer to the top than it is the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's number 2. I don't know.
Well, but then there's Street Fighter the animated movie, which I don't know if you can count that because it's not
Yeah.
a theatrical release. But
Um,
did you see the post credits? Because that's the one thing
that's
I've wanted to
more
talk about you for.
I knew
so
it had to
long.
be Tails.
But when he showed up, I literally stood up like a freaking crazy 8-year-old 30 years ago and was like, I stood up out of my chair in the theater, screamed, and started clapping as loud as I could when he showed
It
up.
just seems like I feel like there's so many movies I could compare it to. Either Ninja Turtles to some extent the original, but to an even bigger extent the more recent remake. Batman Begins, where it's like, okay, here's Sonic. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, now guess what? Next time it's going to be Sonic and it's going to be Tails and it's going to be pure just like fan service. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just seems like a lot of these series, universes, whatever, the first one is just kind of like Batman Begins. Like Christian Bale's awesome, whatever, but like Scarecrow. Okay. Next time you're getting the Joker. And it's maybe the best movie of all time. And I'm not saying that Sonic and Tails, whatever, the next one is going to be the best movie of all time, but it's like I feel like it's going to be more of what we want. And the original Ninja Turtles movie was fantastic, and it's probably better than the sequel. But the sequel seems
but they're both
more fan servicey.
Yeah.
Out of the Shadows was way more fan servicey and just a better movie altogether. And it seems like that's kind of where
and then we got
this is
screwed on
gonna
part
go.
3. Yeah.
Well,
and now you've got like Robotnik. Sorry that we're spoiling.
now
the
he
Sonic
actually
movie.
looks like Robotnik.
He's bald.
We're gonna get Tails.
He's on LSD or something on this mushroom planet. Like he's losing his mind. He's what is he doing? He's like throwing the rock and stuff and jumping. It's like a Watson or is it Watson? The volleyball.
Wilson.
Wilson. Watson. It's not a freaking AI from IBM. Jesus, Kevin. Oh, I'm so glad you saw it because
it was good. It didn't like blow my mind, but I laughed out loud. Not like I chuckled a few times.
And I like anytime I see James Marsden because he got screwed over as Cyclops. They completely screwed him over in that entire trilogy. Like Cyclops is supposed to be the leader, but Wolverine's cooler, so Hugh Jackman and Wolverine gets to be the leader. I'm like, that's not how X-Men works, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, it's so stupid, but like I think it's when they're in the hotel and Sonic farts. Obviously, that's going to make me laugh.
Of course, it's a
and
fart
then
joke.
James Marsden's like, "Oh, you might want to check your fur on that one." I'm like, "Okay, that's one of the parts that I giggled at." But no, it was good. It was cute. It was exactly what I thought it would be.
The only thing I hated that they gave away in the trailer was when he does the spin dash into Robotnik's tank. Even though I saw it in the trailer, I was like, "Oh, this is freaking awesome."
That was cool. Yeah.
And then the robot keeps getting smaller and smaller. And smaller
Yeah.
and smaller. And then it was way better than it had any right to be. The sequel is coming. Obviously, Robotnik's going to get back somehow. I feel like somehow Knuckles is going to find his way to the Mushroom Hill Zone, and be like, "Oh, you're a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I hate that guy. I killed."
The weird thing is
the mom owl thing was so weird.
I don't know. That was
like why? Where's
the weird thing that it has or it doesn't have that like Ninja Turtles and Batman and whatever else has. Unless it's Knuckles, you can't really. It's Robotnik. You have one villain. You know he's going to be back.
That's why it has to be Knuckles.
So,
but then Knuckles ends up being a good guy. So you know what's going to happen. They're going to end up. Oh, we like each other. Let's take down Robot. Like you know how it's going to go. But Knuckles has to be in it too.
You think he's in the next one?
Yes.
You know, like they saved that for 3.
They can't plan on 3. They can't plan on 3. They should be so happy that they got 2.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
All right, that makes me happy. I've been dying to tell you about that post-credit scene forever, and you probably could. I think at one point I kind of said like, "There's a post-credit scene."
As soon as you said there's a post-credit scene, I'm like, "Oh well, it's got to be Tails, right?" So yeah,
and it was.
Spoiler alert.
All right, back to
what were we talking about?
Really timely news. We were talking about the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because I said I sent you the Infinity War quote. Because last night I was just like, I don't feel like playing The Last of Us, and I just turned on TNT and Infinity War was there, and it was right when Thanos was about to come down to, or not Thanos, but all these people are going to come down to Wakanda, and I was like, okay, I got to watch this, and he's like, get this man a shield. God, I do think that is, after just seeing like the last 45 minutes to an hour, that's my number 2 MCU. It's not Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's number 3, but it's really like. Endgame is 1, and then it's like 2A and 2B with Winter Soldier.
And it's got the coolest version of Cap.
He looks... I want that suit. I want that suit. I want that beard and that hair. I want all of it. And I can't have any of it.
Yeah, it's my number 2 also.
And then when oh my God, when Thor comes down and then he says, bring me Thanos. And then Groot's like, I am Groot. I'm like, this is so amazing. It's so stupid, but oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
All right, so next up.
Yeah.
There was also another online event this week. It was the Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire event. They showed a new trailer that shows story and combat, and it was all from the game's prologue. They haven't shown anything except what happens like in the first few hours of the game. Really cool. The combat and the driving looks cool to me. Also, I said there's no way I could play this game when the kids are awake because F this and like blades into faces and genital, customization and stuff. Like, nope. Apparently it's all, at least the early stories, based around a heist for a chip of immortality. There's a gang called the Mox Gang. You're going to meet a bunch of gangs during this. If you go outside the city walls, there's a desert-like area called the Badlands. It seems like you can start there or in the city, depending on what. There's 3 different character types you can choose from, whatever. There's also Ripper Doctors that allow you to enhance your character with new modifications. They showed off the Brain Dance feature. Kind of similar to detective mode, you can relive someone else's memories. You can also relive them in third person, so either from their eyes or from a third person. Also, they announced, for some reason, the anime called Edge Runners is coming out 2 years from now, so they really needed to announce that. I saw people joking on Twitter. They're from IGN. I don't remember who it was. But they were saying, well, that's probably when the DLC is actually going to come out. It was like 2 years from now, so it makes sense. Lots of gameplay previews went live for the first 4 hours of the game, and it sounds pretty positive. I will say, Sean, I've been kind of hating on this game because everybody's already given it Game of the Year award without ever even playing it. For some reason, I don't know if it was the driving, like it reminded me of GT. It reminded me a lot of like Cyberpunk GTA first person with RPG elements. And well, I don't know that this. I can tell for sure now that it's delayed till November 19th, when I'm hopefully getting a PS5 with Spider-Man, Watch Dogs Legion, maybe Ratchet if we're lucky, but I doubt that. It's definitely not a day one purchase for me. If this was a September game, I might have said, you know what? What the hell? I got nothing else to play for the next couple months. But my interest is piqued, as like yours was for the Avengers with this game. What do you think about Cyberpunk 2077?
I don't know. It gives me like Witcher vibes in that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like it seems like something that it seems like too much for me. Like in theory, I should have liked The Witcher, but I was overwhelmed from the jump. I'm just like,
there's
this
too
is-
many
this is
icons
not
on
for
the map
me.
and everything.
Yeah, and I feel like that's my main hesitation about this, is that it just seems like it's too much. It's something that in theory I could maybe enjoy, but like, talk about games being too long. I just feel like there's just going to be way too much in this game, and I don't know. I'm not writing it off by any means, but I'm also far from sold on it. I don't know. It's a possibility for me, but I get overwhelmed just thinking about it.
Yeah. It's, again, going back to our discussion, not every game has to be 50 hours. Not every game has to be 100 hours also. Like, this is going to be a 100-hour game. And if it's good and there's enough to keep your interest there, then cool. I don't know. It's just that I think the reason I haven't been interested in this game for the most part is the same reason I don't like Friends.
Because everybody else does.
Yeah, like, you've all crowned, like Dennis Green, why don't you crown their asses already? Like, you've done that already. This is already everybody's game of the year, and it's not out for another 5 months. Like, it was the same thing when Fallout 4 came out, and everybody was talking about, well, it's game of the year. I'm like, have you played Metal Gear? Did you play The Witcher? And then Fallout 4 came out, and it wasn't that good. It was just more Fallout. It was
But, I mean, you can make
engine.
the same argument about Last of Us 2.
Well, that didn't work out. But no, the critics are saying it's game of the year. It's the fans, not all the fans, but critics across the board love the game. I haven't heard one other than Callie who didn't really like the game. Everybody, even just people that didn't like review it for IGN that played it, are like, it's this big tweet thread about how emotional it is and blah, blah, blah. And it's a masterpiece. And I don't think it is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm definitely more interested in this than I ever have been before.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sold.
Yeah.
But maybe.
The last item on the list, we also had the New Game Plus Expo this week. There was a whole bunch of stuff there, but I only noticed 2 things here that stood out to me, one more than the other. But this one is the first one. It is for you, Shawn. And Harvest Moon 1 World was announced coming out this fall on PS4 and Switch. Would you ever think about going back to another Harvest Moon game? Or is it really just the first one was the only good one?
It's the only one I've played, and it kind of gives me Animal Crossing vibes. Like, and I don't mean that in a good way. I'll probably never play that game again. Harvest Moon, I only played on an emulator, and I think that's part of the reason why I liked it, because I could hit that tilde button, I think, that like fast forwards, because there's a lot of crap that I just want to like speed up. Like, it's very Animal Crossing like. It's just wake up, go pull your crops and plant more seeds and grab your watering can, and it's kind of a cool concept. And there's other stuff that happens, but it's something I went back and tried to play that game. It's been years now, but it was also years after I played it originally for the first time, and I couldn't even get back into it. And it seems like the kind of game that on current gen systems, the game is what it is. It's like farming simulator almost. So they're not going to add stuff to it that makes it more fun. It's not like all of a sudden, well, now we can do this, and this with the game that we couldn't do back on Super Nintendo. It's going to be, I just feel like it's going to be more stuff that just feels like chores, and that's why I can't play Animal Crossing. It's just like every time I go wander around the island and chop down trees and collect fruit, and
God, I hate that game.
I feel like that's what this is going to be like. I feel like it's something that looks like it could be fun, but I don't know. I don't think I'm interested.
I'm definitely not.
Oh, I know you're not.
Did you ever think about Stardew Valley, or is it the same reasons?
The exact same.
Okay.
Yeah.
The big game that was announced there for both of us, Bloodstained, I never thought this would have happened. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. Also kind of funny that they're just calling it Curse of the Moon 2, but whatever. If you're not familiar with Curse of the Moon, it was the spin-off Bloodstained game that came out a year before the main Bloodstained game, Ritual of the Night. It is in the 8-bit vein of, it's like Castlevania 3 on current-gen consoles, and we loved it. This Curse of the Moon 2 will be a, quote, epic news story supervised by Koji Igarashi. I don't think he really had any input on the first one, so the fact that he's helping with the story on this makes me even more excited.
Yeah.
There's 4 playable characters, no Miriam. You can play as Zangetsu. I hope they bring David Hayter's
Zangetsu.
Big Boss in 8-bit chip tunes. There's an exorcist named Dominique. Was she not the chick that ended up being the...
I think.
Yeah, so why are you playing as her? Or did
I
she
don't know.
turn
When does
good
this
at the
happen?
end? I don't know. I mean, the first game was a prequel, so maybe this is still a prequel, but I don't know.
I don't know.
But that was definitely
assume-
Dominique, right? Dominique.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's her, yeah.
Yeah. A soldier named Robert. He's got guns.
I got bombs in these arms.
I was thinking about Streets of Rage 4 today for some reason. I was like, I need to go back and
play
fire
it the
up
other
again.
day, but I'm like, it's another one like Riverbond that I'm like, it doesn't.
It's so much better.
I just don't have much interest in playing it one player.
You can also play as a dog in a mech suit named Hachi, which is hilarious. But wait, then a second trailer came out, and there's 3 more characters, bringing the total up to 7. Miriam is in the game, as well as Alfred and Jeeble. Was Jeeble playable in the first one, or did we not hear that name
I don't
until...
remember who you played as in the first one.
They all 3 look familiar to me, like it was the same from the first game. But
Really?
So it's in the same 8-bit style as the original. I kind of thought, when I just saw like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 announced, I was like, maybe it'd be like Bloodlines graphics or something. No, I'm kind of glad they just stuck with the 8-bit.
They should.
But some of those bosses you see in that trailer, there's no way on God's green earth that could have ever happened on a Nintendo. There's no way. It's so impressive. But what I said when the first trailer came out, I don't know if I said it out loud or if I just said it in my head, but I was like, if you look at these screenshots, it says 1P life bar, 2P push button. I was like, oh my God, there's a 2-player co-op mode. They're not telling us. Second trailer comes out, 2-player co-op. Let's Play City is coming on July 10th, baby. Maybe sooner if we get review codes. But yeah, it's out July 10th. Like I said, perfect palate cleanser that I need after The Last of Us 2. I can't wait for this game to come out. It's a Friday. Like, I'm just going to spend that weekend and play it, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. And to me, this completely out of the blue?
Completely. So the first game, like I said, was part of a Kickstarter bonus that they had to deliver an 8-bit Castlevania-ish game. So clearly they had a success with it.
I guess, yeah.
And then this just came out. I had never heard any whispers or any rumors about this. It was just like, what? Bloodstained Curse?
Well, I remember I got notification on my phone from Wario talking about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. And at first I was like,
wait,
another? I'm like, oh, wait, that's Ritual.
Yeah,
I'm like, Curse of the Moon was the 8-bit. And I was like, okay. But I mean, I was still excited, but I was like, holy crap. And I was like, oh, it's the other one. But I'm like, that makes a lot more sense. There's no way they'd already have a sequel for
another Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Quick a turnaround. There's no way. And they're still putting out all the DLC for Ritual of the Night this year.
I still haven't gone back and played that.
I need to play Zangetsu, and then, yeah.
But yeah, that'll be a fun Let's Play. Or
wait.
Series of Let's Plays.
Yep, I can't wait.
Bloodstained Mondays.
Do we have to wear man buns? Why my voice just went away? Man buns? I mean, I can't, if you're watching on YouTube, I can't wear a man bun if I wanted to. My hair is so weird. I know the cowlick's probably sticking out and y'all can see it. It's like, it's in that in-between face.
You're so concerned with your cowlick. I cannot
really
see it. No.
It's just so weird because like
you probably just feel it more than anybody would ever see. Like, I'm looking for it and I don't even see it.
So I buzzed my head like a month ago. I put it in a mohawk for a day. That was interesting. But I buzzed it, and since it's all buzzed at the same height, length, whatever, it's like, are you thinking of the mohawk?
Do we have to wear man bun?
Man bun. Stacy. But now it feels like my hair is longer on the sides and the back than it is the top. I feel like, oh my God, my hair is trying to grow a mullet.
It's not longer on the sides, but it's the same length everywhere. So it just has like a poof.
I think I'm going to have Jess buzz it on the sides and the back and just kind of try to blend it. But if not, who cares?
Just do like the Troy Baker.
I'm not Troy Baker. I cannot have that hair. That's another person whose hair I wish I could have. Bradley Cooper, Captain America, Troy Baker. Joel's hair was pretty nice too in this, I must say. He grew it out.
It was longer, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. And now it's time for the wrap up. Shawn, do you know what optimized for Series X means?
No.
Nobody did until this past week. It means that games will be natively designed or fully rebuilt for the Series X. They will all target, which is interesting that they say target, 4K and 60 frames per second. Some games will run at 120 frames per second, and there will be ray tracing in, quote, select games. Only in select games, huh? Also, Phil Spencer was like, yeah, Sony did a good job, but I'm very confident in our hardware manufacturing capabilities that we will be able to demonstrate our advantage over Sony.
You slowly turned into Trump there.
It's going to be fantastic. Freaking asshole. Go out and vote this year.
And every year.
Yeah, well, especially this year.
But, yeah.
Tokyo Game Show is officially online. We knew it had been canceled, but they will be doing TGS online in September. Usually there's some pretty good announcements that come out of that. Where the frick are you, Nintendo? Like, we're almost into July.
Man bun.
Stacy. Like, we know what they've got coming this year. You got to tell us. That's the other thing. I'm going to be busy playing Switch games around that time, too, because I'm assuming...
Yeah.
Did you see there was some listing, I don't know if it was true or not, but went up and they called it Super Mario Collection, not All-Stars.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't
If
care
they come
what
out
you
with this
call
game
it.
and they don't call it Super Mario All-Stars 2, you missed that.
I'm still gonna
screwed
play
that
it.
up.
I'm
Well,
still gonna
yeah,
play it.
but
Yeah.
you got to call that All-Stars 2.
The Nintendo president, which I didn't write down his name because I can't remember who it is now, said that hardware production is recovering. If you've been trying to get a Switch, they've been in and out of stock everywhere. They said they're finally recovering from their production issues because of COVID-19. They did say first party. Well, I got ahead of myself when I just bitched there. First party games planned for 2020 remain on track. And then I wrote quote not quote dot. What are they? Quote unquote. Quote dot unquote. Quote dot. I can't even do it. But I mean, come on, give us the direct. You know what's going to happen? They're going to announce the direct like a day before it happens.
Yeah, probably.
Square Enix has announced they will be announcing several new titles in July and August. This is what was originally planned for E3 before coronavirus screwed us all over. Netflix showed a first look at the Cuphead show and said it is, quote, coming soon. I've had so many quotes today. This looks perfect. This is
quote dot unquote.
Quote dot unquote. This looks beautiful. Like, it looks absolutely perfect. When I heard they were doing a show, I was like, this should work, and it still might not be a good show.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about the show, but it just makes me want more Cuphead.
Where the frig is the DLC? It was announced 2 years ago. Man, Stacy.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it looks beautiful.
I'm not doing a good Stacy.
Stacy.
Yeah, it cracks. There you go. Thank you. I won't try it again. Sony announced that they are offering up to $50,000 or more to people to find bugs and security flaws in the PSN and PS4 as part of their bug bounty program, and they're partnering with HackerOne. Shouldn't they have been doing this 7 years ago when the damn system came out, not at the end of the life cycle?
Probably.
I mean, PSN is PSN. You don't want that to get hacked no matter what, but like at this point, who cares if they hack a PS4?
Well, yeah.
Just homebrew it, whatever. Also, Sean, this next one is for you. A free-to-start new game called Pokemon Unite was announced, and people were pissed. I laughed. I just laughed. I was like, "Your Pokemon company."
I saw a little bit about it, but why? What's the uproar about?
They said they were going to unveil, I don't remember what their exact verbiage was, but it was something effective. The next big Pokemon project is going to be announced. And it's a friggin' free to start, not free to play, free to start MOBA with freaking Pokemans fighting with a forest in the middle, 5-on-5 teams. It's a Pokemon MOBA. Pokemon.
Wow. Okay.
I just laughed. I was like,
yeah, I just don't care.
Like, but if you're a Pokemon fan, like
A Poke fan?
damn it. Like, you just got the DLC either just came out or just is close to coming out. I don't know. But it seems like it's a pretty big DLC for it. So, like, just be happy with that. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
I get they should not have said that it was a big project being unveiled, because that makes you think. A lot of people, I guess, were thinking they were, like, remastering one of the original Pokemons. I'm like, but they're all, they're all the same. They're literally all the same game.
Well,
I'm talking out
I
of my
won't go
butt.
that far, but yeah.
Games with gold for July were announced. We'll find out PS4 games next week, but I will guess that PS4 wins, because holy crap, Xbox, it's like the last 3 months, they're like bad, worse, worse. The X-Bone is getting WRC 8 FIA World Rally Championship and Dunk Lords. The Xbox 360, Saints Row 2, okay, and Juju. There's some bad juju on this month for Games with Gold. I know that. So, Sony, you would have to really, really try to lose this month.
I think it's going to be a good month for Sony. I'm not.
Breaking news.
I have some insider knowledge that I'm not privy to share right now. No, but I don't know.
Not
I feel like
privy
it's
to
going to be
share?
good.
No, you can't be privy. You can't be not privy to share something. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Wait, did I use the wrong word?
That I can't be privy to share is what you said. That's not how privy works.
What did I mean to say?
I don't think you can be privy.
Oh, how should I have said that?
I'm not able to share.
Yeah, but how do you use the word privy?
That I'm not privy to. But if you're not privy to, then there's nothing you can share. Whatever. This is a good podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for episode 188. Thank you all so much for being here. I don't know what this podcast is sometimes. Obviously, you can find us at nerd901.com, where they're connecting nerds across the Mid-South and the multiverse. Also, make sure you check out the Blurred with Fear on YouTube, Twitch. No, without. Did I say with? Because I started changing what I normally say, and I brain farted.
The Blurred with Fear.
Check out the Blurred Without Fear.
Sans Fear.
Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, everything. All that stuff. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at KevinWhite24. He's at Real Shawn White. Together we're at 2player_. Co-op. Patreon, Twitch, YouTube, audio services around the multiverse, and all that other stuff. That's it for 188. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be back for 189. But until that time, Sean, come take us out.
Thank you for playing.
Privy.
Man bun.
Stacy. It's horrible.